So let's go back to, let's just start off with the 1992 urban uprising,
Yeah.
LA riots, whatever you might want to call it. You're learning about what's going on while you're sitting in the cell. Do you remember where you were at and what was going on through your mind when you're seeing this or hearing about this?
Yeah, in 92, I was actually in New Folsom. I was coming from Pelican Bay. I went to New Folsom, and I was in my cell, and I can tell you, just seeing the images of people I knew, like struggling with the police, fighting with the police right here on 71st, right around the corner. A neighborhood that I'm familiar with, that I was here every day. In fact, like I alluded to earlier, I committed a crime right here. I murdered someone right here on this corner back in 1985, September the 7th. But also, I mean, it brings back so many memories because I've had a few of my childhood friends, a few of my homeboys who also caught a murder, as you say, caught a murder, right? Committed a crime over here, a gang-related crime, and went to prison as well. And I remember one time, I was 15 years old. I was at that bus stop right across the street. I was standing there, and I was cripped down, as we say, and a car turned the corner on 71st. They jumped out the car. What? Golf clubs, bats, sticks, beat my ass right there at the bus stop. And them definitely was our rivals. So it's interesting how to be here on this corner and knowing the viciousness that has occurred here. Some of my homies got shot over here on this corner. So it is mind-boggling being here today. And especially when I was inside the cell and knowing that I came from this environment and seeing it on the television, you know, like it brought up just so many memories of, you know, where I came from and also how disheartening it was to see where we were as a society.
Do you remember any of those guys that were being profiled in the news, being dragged through the court system that were from over here while you were watching this on your, I'm assuming, a television in your cell?
Of course, Damien and Kiki, without a doubt. Young Damien, it's interesting. So young Damien, little football, his brother's football, and his brother, we were childhood friends, and we grew up, you know, being involved in the same gang. And it's interesting. Damien was still a youngster when I got incarcerated in '85. That isn't to take anything from him, but he definitely was a badass. He definitely used to be in, you know, cutting up, to say the least. But it was interesting to see, you know, how the community had evolved and how it got to the point where it exploded, you know, right here in my neighborhood, and feeling the connection to the people that initially was involved in the riot.
And you mentioned Kiki. That's Henry Keith Watson. He's still around here to this day.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well, let's go back to some of your earlier years before we talk about the act you committed here. Where were you born, and what area did you grow up in?
Okay, so I was born at the General Hospital, right? Used to live right there on 71st and Harvard as a toddler. And our family moved. We moved to 51st and Normandie. And so I basically, you know, grew up at 51st and Normandie.
And how did you, 51st and Normandie is slightly outside of the turf. How did you end up gravitating to a little bit more south to start hanging out with all the guys from Eight Tray?
So I'm gonna say it like this: junior high school. You know, I went to John Muir, right? Basically, initially, I wasn't even considering, you know, being involved in gangs in any shape, form, or fashion. I mean, I was basically living my own life. I used to consider myself like a player and a hustler, like, you know, even as a kid. But one day when I was coming home from school, I got jumped on by some LA brims. And so after that happened, I immediately started, you know, looking around my environment, and I just had a knack based on some of the traumas that I experienced as a child. I just had a knack for wanting revenge. So one of my homeboys, when we were going to John Muir, I just basically was like, you know what? I want to be from Eight Tray, right? And I'm gonna tell you, that was a tall task. Can you imagine coming over from out of the 50s into this neighborhood, right? Saying I want to be from Eight Tray. So in order for that to happen, that means that I had to like really, you know, be able to represent. So I can tell you that in 79, 13 years old, is when I started coming over here. And I remember, like when I got put on, right there on 79th and Western, I went to a party. It was the first gangster party that I went to. And I can tell you, it was just something about that party, like with everybody in there, the cultural aspect of what it means to be gangster, right? With the style of dress, you know, the Penitents, the 501s, the Romeos, the Stacys, right? So you had that element. You had the Parliament Funkadelic. You had the dancing and you had the gang sign. You had like a party just being turned up. And so me, as a 13-year-old kid, that was really exciting to me. And I recall that party initially got turned out because the homies they ended up like shooting outside. There were some shootings that took place. And so when I came outside, this is the first time I saw a monster, Cody Scott. Monster had 2 shotguns on his shoulders with a bebop hat, and he had back in the day what we call bomber jackets, but we refer to them as Crip coats. And so he was walking around with 2 shotguns on his shoulders, and when I saw that, I was like, wow, because it was like that was what power looked like. And for me, throughout all my life, whenever I saw something that I wanted to gravitate toward or that influenced me, then that's what I wanted to become, because that was the height of what it meant to be gangster at that point in time.
Now, Monster Cody Scott was about 4 years older than you.
3.
3. And seeing a guy like that doing what he was doing, was that someone that you eventually came up under while you was on your journey into the hood?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we ran together often. We were engaged in a lot of different crimes together. Yeah. Someone who I was with regularly.